everyone, Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the Ram licensed by Red Rock Extreme HD front bumper with the LED fog lights and Ram logo in textured black, fitting 2013 to 2018 Ram 1500s excluding Rebel models. The 4th gen Rams are already pretty aggressive looking, but if you want a little something more, be it looks, lighting, or off-road capability, this bumper has a bit of everything and then some. So what we have here is a full-width front bumper that is going to replace your factory original and take things in a whole new direction. Stylistically, this is a big departure from stock. It really takes the square-jawed theme of the Ram to a whole other level. The front section is deep and angular, and the edges cut up a lot closer to the body of the truck, meaning that you do get a little bit better of an approach angle for off-roading. You also get some big cutouts right here down on the bottom for meteor tow hooks, and of course there is the additional lighting that fits in these pockets on the sides. You do get 2 LED cube lights included in the kit to take the place of your stock fog lights. So whether you're on the street or the trail, you'll be able to see further. And while there isn't a winch mount included in this bumper, you do have room right here in the center in case you want to mount an additional light bar. Now, being that this is designed to be a direct replacement for your original bumper, and because it is licensed by Ram themselves, you'll be able to retain total factory functionality. For example, if your truck came equipped with the front parking sensors, you can just pop those right here in the pre-drilled holes, and that system is going to work just as it would from the factory. Plus, you get the cool Ram logo right here in the center too, for a little extra visual punch. Construction of the bumper itself really speaks to that heavy-duty part of the name. This is comprised entirely of 5/32 inch steel plating, and this thing is, well, it's pretty darn tough. The steel is cold formed into its final shape, which means that material hasn't been heated and subsequently weakened. Cold forming really helps maintain structural rigidity of the metal. It's also capped off with this 2-stage finish. The first layer is an epoxy coating, which is then covered with this textured black powder coat. So it's going to provide you excellent corrosion resistance, and it'll be able to stand up to pretty much anything you can throw at it. All of the bracketry is made from the same material and is powder coated the same way as well. Now those cube lights we were talking about earlier, these are 3-inch units powered by 5-watt Cree LEDs, and they provide 6000K temperature light. So safe to say, again, these are really nice and bright. They feature an aluminum housing with integrated cooling fins over a clear polycarbonate lens, and these are also IP67 waterproof rated, so you don't have to worry about it if you happen to hit a water feature somewhere out on the trail. Pricing comes in at about $1,800, and this puts this in about the middle of the category. Now, while you're paying a little bit more for this one, you are getting the Ram seal of approval, literally, additional lighting, and some aggressive good looks here. So if you're looking for something that works hard and plays hard and won't be a bear to get fitted, this is going to be a great option for you. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. Now, this is a pretty straightforward process since it is just a totally bolt-on replacement for your stock bumper. You don't have to modify anything on the truck to get this fitted. However, you are going to have to run a little bit of wiring. It's kind of pre-done for you, really just power and ground for those fog lights, and you're going to have to plug in some additional harnesses if you've got those parking sensors in the front. As I always do with bumpers, I definitely recommend having another set of hands with you because this thing is quite heavy, and fitting a bumper can be really cumbersome by yourself no matter how strong you are. You do again get all the wiring needed for the lighting and switches, and honestly running that is probably going to take you more time than just bolting up the bumper itself. Any way you slice it though, this is certainly a project that you can undertake at home. And to show you that process now, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact, a 3/8 and 1/4 ratchet, a clip removal tool, an 18, 16, 10 deep and shallow, an 8mm socket, a 3/8 extension, an 18, 16, and 13mm wrench, the supplied Allen keys, and zip ties. All right, today we're gonna be installing a front bumper on our Ram. First, we're gonna watch a quick video how to uninstall a stock one, then we'll come back here to install the new one.
All right, so the first step in our uninstall with the hood popped, and you will have to remove your rad support cover. Our truck does not currently have one. Grab a 10mm socket and remove the 4 bolts holding on the top of the grill. With all of the bolts removed, lift up on the brackets on the grill, slide it off your truck, grab the bottom and pull straight towards you. All right, at this point we need to remove 3 of the bolts holding the bumper to the wheel well liner. Our truck only has 1 here, but make sure that you have all 3 of these out. Grab your 7mm socket and remove them. I'm also going to remove this 7mm bolt as well, so we can peel back the wheel well liner and have a bit more room. With the wheel well liner pulled back, now we can see the bolt that holds on the fender to the bumper. You might have a little bit of trouble, but it's right on the inside here. It is pretty long, and it's in a precarious location, so you're gonna need a small ratchet or even a ratcheting wrench, 10mm. If you like, you can take the headlight out to get a little bit better access, but if you're cool to use a small tool, you can get to it right from the wheel well. Let's go ahead and remove it. All right, now we're gonna repeat that process on the other side. All right, so at this point, we're gonna remove the nuts that hold on our bumper to our frame. But you will notice this new replacement bolt on our bumper. So we're gonna need to use a wrench on the backside here. You guys will not. So grab your 18mm socket and remove these. Now you may want a swivel socket for some of these to be able to get a good angle on your nut. Go ahead and remove them. All right, now the last one is a little bit higher up, so we're gonna be using a ratchet because the gun does not fit. It also may be a little bit hard to see, but it's the same concept of the other 3 you just took out. Grab your 18mm socket and repeat that process on the other side. Again, we're going to be using a swivel for this one. It's a little bit easier. And make sure your bumper is supported so that it does not fall when you take out the rest of the bolts. And finally, the last nut all the way up the top. We're gonna grab a ratchet for this one and remove it. And finally, make sure you unplug the fog light harness, press down on the gray tab, and remove it. All right, with all of those bolts removed, you can grab your bumper. You may want a friend for this step to help you out, and slide it off the truck. With the bumper cover removed, you can now grab the bumper itself and pull it off of your truck. We do have to remove these plastic pieces underneath the headlight. There's 3 bolts, 1 on the inside, 1 underneath, and 1 to the side. So grab a 10mm socket, and I do have a small extension. Let's get these removed. Now you can repeat that on the other side. This one is broken on our truck. You will still have 3. Let's get these removed. Grab your 10mm socket and a small extension and pull them out. And finally, we have to remove this center support piece. There are 2 bolts on either side. Grab your 10mm socket and remove them. And repeat that on the other side.
All right, so we have our bumper on the ground here. We're gonna start assembling some parts on it. We're gonna start with our light. So we have our bracket first. So you're gonna see 2 grooves inside that the bracket will fit through. Just need to squeeze it together a little bit, and then you'll see it line up on either side. through the mounting hole. Now this part is just a little bit tricky. We're gonna have one of our nuts. We're just gonna drop it into that slot in there, and then carefully line up your bolt and nut. Use your Allen key and get them started. And then do the same thing on the other side. Get it all lined up. Once you have them both started, you just pick your angle for which way you want your fog light facing. You can adjust this afterwards also. We're just gonna put ours straight on and tighten both of these down. And now we can mount it onto our bumper. All right, so we're gonna take our supplied mounting bolt, put that through the bottom here. You'll see there's a recessed part on the bracket that will lock that head into place. Now you do have options of where you want to mount these fog lights. We're just going to put ours in the center mounting point. Reach through. Pull that up. On the top side, we're going to do a flat washer, our locking washer, and then our nut. You're gonna get that snug, and like I said, you have a lot of adjustability here. But once you figure out where you want that, we're gonna put ours pretty much centered. Grab our 13mm ratcheting wrench and tighten that down. Now you'll see there are spots for parking sensors. Our factory bumper did not have any parking sensors, so we're just gonna install plugs. They just simply line up and push into place. You can see a couple here. We're just gonna do the same thing with the rest going across the bumper. Last thing we're gonna put on this side is our top corner piece. Now you wanna make sure you have the right one. They are labeled P and D for passenger and driver. They are shaped slightly different, so you just wanna make sure that you have the right ones. So we're gonna get our bolts threaded in here. We have our small Allen bolt with a lock washer and a flat washer. And flat washer on, thread that in, grab our supplied Allen key and tighten those down. All right, now you go ahead and do the same thing on the other side for the corner piece, the plugs, and the fog light. All right, now we're gonna get our brackets onto our frame on the truck. You just wanna make sure you have the right one. They are labeled passenger and driver. The open parts will be on the bottom and the inside. The mounting bracket will be on the outside. So it's gonna go over our frame like so. We're gonna grab our supplied bolts with a flat washer. And then we will have another flat washer and then our locking washer on the back side. And then our nut. And go ahead and do the same thing in the other 3 locations. Now you see there is a lot of adjustability, so when you go to put your bumper on, you may need to loosen these up and just move them around. We're just gonna put ours in line with the bottom and all the way in for right now. And we'll grab our impact and 16mm socket and a 16mm wrench to hold the backside. All right, you can go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So now we just need to do a little bit of wiring. So we have our battery connection, we have our button that we run into inside the vehicle, and then our 2 wires that will go to our fog lights. So we're gonna hook up our battery connection first. So we have our positive and negative. We're gonna grab our ratchet and 10mm socket. We're gonna take a couple nuts off so we can secure them down. Put our negative wire over, put our nut back on. Now you can hook this up to this stud if you want to, it's just personal preference. Tighten this back down. And then we just need to do our positive terminal. We're gonna take this stud off here. Put our wire over and our nut back on. All right, now I would suggest mounting your relay, but we're just gonna tuck ours down in here for right now. And then we just had to run our button through our firewall. So you see the wiring harness plug right here, right under the windshield. So I'm gonna push that out of the way, and then you can feed your wire through. All right. Push our button through. And we can go inside the truck, pull out as much wire as we need, and secure it inside. All right, now when pulling the wire through, you just want to make sure that you can zip tie it up to anything that you need. You just want to make sure it doesn't come in contact with the parking brake pedal or any of the other pedals or anything moving. So we're just going to pull our wire up, have it secured underneath, hold our backing off our double-sided tape. You can secure it wherever you want. We're just going to put ours right here on our dash. Now you can run your wires however you want. Secure them however you want, clean them up. But we're just gonna run ours down the front. Just make sure they stay out of the way of the grill mounting points. We have our one going to our driver's side. And we just have our one here, run across our frame rails and rest over here. And once we get our bumper on, we can secure the extra up out of the way. Now before we get our bumper on, we're gonna talk about the hardware a little bit. So the hardware is just gonna be our bigger bolts. It's gonna be the same stack up as the brackets. So we're gonna have our bolt with our flat washer, and then our bumper brackets will go on the outside of our frame brackets. So they'll go through our bumper and then our frame bracket. And then on the inside, we're gonna do another flat washer, block washer, and then our nut. And there'll be 3 bolts on either side. So now we're gonna go get a buddy to help us get this in place and get our bolts in, and then we'll get the new bumper on. All right, now we're gonna come on the inside of our bumper here. You'll see all 3 mounting points here. So we're gonna grab our impact and 18mm socket and an 18mm wrench to hold the head and tighten all these down. Now you may need to loosen and re-tighten just to get the right angle of the bumper because there is a lot of movement. But we're gonna get ours tightened down into position. You can go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Now we just need to plug in our fog light. So you can see we have our harness all bunched up with the extra here. Just gonna take another zip tie just to get this up out of the way. We can just go right to the factory harness here. And then plug our harness in. And you go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Now we just have our 8mm bolt we're gonna put in the back in the top of our wheel liner here. We're gonna thread that in, grab our ratchet 8mm socket, tighten that down. Now as for the rest of the wheel liner, you will see that you can see it coming out of the bottom of the bumper. What you could do, you could trim the bottom of it just so you can't see it, or you can even take the wheel liner completely out. That's just personal preference. I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend just cutting out the bottom just so you can't see it from the bottom of the bumper. But once you have this bolt back in, go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Now we can reinstall our grille, line up all of our tabs. And now we can reinstall our 4 10mm bolts going across the top. So we'll get our bolts back in our grille. And while we're here, we can reinstall our rad cover. Just line up all of our tabs, lock them down in place. And that wraps up our install of our Ram licensed by Red Rock Extreme HD front bumper with LED fog lights and Ram logo. Textured black for our 2013 to 2018 Ram 1500, excluding the Rebel. And remember, for everything Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.